All right, 3, 2, 1. Be better if I had the audio up. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Are we rolling? Are we just doing this? Oh, welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. Just the loudest. Do you not have a mute button?
I had to sneeze. I didn't have time to find it.
Welcome everybody to the MiniMap podcast. Oh, goodness me. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast. This is your favorite weekly games podcast. My name is Kerry Palmer, and over there, sneezing his face off, is Jeremy Braditich.
Hello.
What's the histamine levels over there, Jeremy?
Oh, they're fine. So I've noticed that I will always sneeze whenever there is a semi-dramatic temperature change, whether getting warmer or getting colder. I will notice it, and then I will sneeze because of it.
Has it been the same temperature for like a week?
Just like in the room I'm in, or like I will get to a point, and the moment it tips over a certain amount or tips below a certain amount, like I will sneeze.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you have that thing where if you look at the sun and it like is so bright you kind of like your whole face starts squinting, then that might trigger a sneeze?
Sometimes, but it's never been consistent enough that I can say I can look at the sun and make myself sneeze.
Oh, you don't make yourself sneeze. The sun makes you sneeze.
Yeah. But like some people, the act of looking at the sun will just be like, "Yep, that'll make me sneeze."
Yeah, it's not one-to-one for me, but it's enough that it's like, well, that I brought it up. That, and also like if I have something that's really strong taste, like if I have like straight Vegemite and my face kind of goes like, whoa, that might make me sneeze.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't sneeze because of Vegemite.
No. just for intros.
Yes, yeah, only for intros.
That was funny. I'm really thrown off my game. Jeremy, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
I yesterday finished the Left Behind DLC story chapter from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
About Ellie's prologue and mid-story.
Yeah.
And the credits started rolling, and they started playing. For part one, it actually rolls the credits for the entire game, I'm pretty sure, because it went forever.
Right. You mean for Left Behind, it rolls credits for the entire game?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it had me wondering how many other people do what I do, which is sit there and watch the credits for most games. Do you do that? Or do you only do it occasionally, or
I will do it for games that have a nice looking credits thing. But like for credits that are just like white text on a black background, I'm not absorbing anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I'm like giving the developers the time that like they put their names there to be recognized, and like I'm at least giving them the time on my screen. But like, I don't know, it's a really weird thing because it doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't mean the developers get another $5 this week. Like it does nothing.
Yeah, like are you reading the developers' names?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
And then it gets to like
that's
all of the
nice.
localization, and yeah.
Have you ever, like, aside from I guess basically directors, have you ever noticed a name show up in multiple games? Have you ever been like, oh hey, there's a name I recognize?
Yuri Lowenthal.
Okay. Aside from actors.
Aside from voice actors?
Yeah.
Not really, no. Not really. And it's hard because there's so many.
Yes.
Like seriously, I think the Last of Us ones last night went for 25 or 30 minutes. And I think they do their credits really well. Their newer credits, at least, where it's not scrolling. It's not a wall of scrolling text. They do static images that sit on the screen for 10 to 15 seconds and then like cut and then the next static image and then the next one and then the next one. Yeah, Sam says that they don't really watch credits. They leave it on for the music sometimes. That's fair enough. The music's quite good. I mean, that was, good part of the Last of Us one as well. You get to listen to that soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, just had me thinking.
Yeah, like it depends on like, I feel like, so for example, I remember the credits for Horizon Forbidden West because it's like one of the flying dinosaurs just going over the entire map.
Right.
Because the credits were moving fast enough and the dinosaur was flying slow enough that you could, it went basically to every like section.
Mm-hmm.
Which was quite.
You think it was real time?
As like real time rendered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like it, I don't think there's anything in that game that isn't. There's no pre-rendered.
Yeah, I know most of the normal cutscenes are just
Yeah. But like, and I think that's cool because it's like, oh, like it's like a cool thing to watch while you're watching the credits. But then it's like, but I'm actually not looking at the names. So like, what's the point? Because I'm looking at the thing behind the names.
Yeah.
But like, so I think maybe the one that I love the most is Guardians of the Galaxy 2 has got great credits because it's like album back covers all the way through scrolling.
Yeah, and great soundtrack too.
Yes.
Yeah. The game that I remember enjoying the most or being one of the most engaging credit sequences for being a large AAA game that we watched all the way through was when we finished Persona 5 Royal. That was a pretty long sequence, but nowhere near as long. It wasn't like 15 or 20 minutes. And that was visually engaging the whole time, like cut like scenes from throughout the whole game.
Yeah, right.
Like kind of fading in, fading out. Yeah. Yeah. That was just a little aside. I just wanted to ask. And developers, please let me know if you are getting a kickback from anybody watching the credits, because I'll be there for you. Let me know. And if you don't, I'll probably keep doing it anyway, because
I don't think they are.
Some weird thing going on in my brain.
It's Joe, just to finally touch on the Halo the Master Chief Collection. The fact that they removed the credits from the end of each game and just has it in a separate setting, I think is really poor.
Yep.
That's like that was like a bad decision to make. And I hope that they revert it, because one, it ruins the mood because you just get thrown to a menu. You don't get that final lullaby of the music to sort of to allow you to feel like you've closed off the game. And two, it's like, who's going into a section just to watch credits? No one. No one's doing that.
Yep, totally. Unless it's like, like on the main menu, it's like new game, load game, options, credits, quit. Then I really don't like it, because in the Master Chief Collection, it's buried, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in its own credits menu, and then I think it's like, which games credits do you want to look at or something? And
like who's doing that? Yeah. It's not cool. You know what is cool, everybody? The MiniMapCast. You can catch us every week on any podcast platform of your choice, or you can watch us on Twitch as we record the show live, and Jeremy just blows out your eardrums as he sneezes into the mic. If you like what you're hearing, if you somehow enjoyed hearing that, please give the show a positive rating wherever you're listening to us. And if you want to give... what was that? If you want to join us as we record the show, we are live every Monday, 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or Daylight Time. I need to figure out which one that is. Jeremy, can you do me a favor? Can you figure out where we are, which one it is right now? I keep double guessing myself and then forgetting about it. We're live every Monday, 5:30 p.m.
AEST is what we are. I think I believe Daylight Time starts the day before Melbourne International Games Week starts, which is going to not ruin anyone's calendars, because everyone's calendars is digital these days and it does it all accordingly. But people are going to get there and suddenly have like an hour's different in their body.
Yeah, it's the bad one too. We're losing an hour.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's twitch.tv/MiniMapAU, 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, AEST. And then we hit Daylight Saving soon, and that'll be AEDT. Before, during, and after the show, we do hang out with Twitch chat. We chat about what we're going to talk about on the show, sort of think about last week when we ranked all of the Mario games. Twitch chat came along to help us decide which
82
games to include,
of
which
them.
ones to not. 82 of the Mario games. What was that like editing? Was that fun?
Oh, it was great.
Yep. I should go back and listen to it.
Editing?
What?
I left it raw.
But you got to hear it again.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And if you want to come hang out in Twitch chat, you're more than welcome to. It's a great time. Like I said last week, we spoke about all Mario games and which ones were the best. It ended up being a pretty good ranking, I think, but it was a really fun ride.
Yeah,
the whole way. You wouldn't believe how many Mario Party games we included in that list.
And we wore hats. You can go see that on our YouTube channel.
We did. I saw a clip on Highlight Reel this week of Mario Odyssey. Of Mario Odyssey, and they were in New Donk City, and the music was playing the and I'm like, maybe I should play that again.
It's great.
I didn't realize I had as much fondness for that game as that one moment made me did.
I think that game is going to age really well because it's got a really great art style.
Yeah, totally. And it is barely HD. Which helps. It goes a long way. We also wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. Lastly, if you want to help us keep the lights and mics on, you can throw $5 our way to become one of our patrons. It helps us to continue to do this. You can ask us questions to answer on the podcast, and it's as cheap as a latte with oat milk. You can do that by going to patreon.com/minimapau. Jeremy, we've actually got a really jam-packed week this week. I've got two things I want to bring up from two different games that I've started playing today. A mystery game that I don't want to let Jeremy hear about until we get to it. We've also come around on the Fortnite. But before all of that, you want to talk about one of the biggest leaks in video game history, Jeremy?
Yeah. So last night, I'm at a bar.
Like 11 p.m.
Yeah, I'm at a pub with my partner. We're waiting for our meal that they forgot to put through the system for a long time, which was really annoying.
Worst.
They give us 2 free beers, to which case when they ask, what size would you like your 2 free beers, we both immediately were like, pints. Because why would you not?
Kegs.
Yeah. Kegs. Barrels. And every now and again I'm checking my phone, only to see GTA 6 is trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is GTA 6 trending on Twitter? Because look, trends come and go very quickly. Like when there's nothing major happening, they will be there for 5 minutes and then move on. And I'm like, I'm on Twitter. Let's see what's happening. And I'm inundated with clips, footage, in-game footage, in development footage of what appears to be a third-person shooter in a city. Looks quite unfinished. Definitely not finished. And I'm like, wow, that looks fairly real. And I keep scrolling and there's more. And then there's more. And then there's debugging information. And there is so much debugging information in some of those clips. Like, what direction every part of the body is facing, different systems.
Like pages of code.
Yeah. And then there's more information. And then there is images of scripts. And then I start to post them in Discord, and you and I sort of go back and forth about its legitimacy. We're trying to figure out. We're trying to piece it together.
You were pretty on board pretty quickly. Yeah. I was very skeptical for the longest time.
Yeah, you were the biggest skeptic of them.
Yeah, you said GTA 6 might have actually leaked. It's hard to tell if it's legit or not. And I said, I really don't think so. This looked to me like a very impressive student game, not a Rockstar budget pre-alpha.
and I keep going through and I keep posting more, and I keep seeing like I see news reports like just sort of detailing some of it, and then so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to the source. I'm going to try and find out where this is coming from, and it's coming from a post on GTAforums.com.
That's a great name.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not actually a pun because the GTAs just have numbers. It's not like the GTA forums for GTA 4, but GTA 4 is such a title that in like gaming history that it like is by default a pun.
Yeah, GTA forums. It's long story short, this is real. I'm gonna go through some of the timeline of it, but like at the end of this, like this is legitimately one of the biggest leaks that has happened in games. Certainly the biggest that has ever happened to Rockstar. This post has since been deleted. Like the entire like thread has been nuked from the website. Take-Two has gone around like DMCAing every video of it that's popped up on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff. People will easily be able to find that information. I'm sure it's still on some websites, but like,
that's why we're not showing any.
I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to tell you where to find it. If you're smart enough, you could probably do it, but you know, fucking, look. Genuinely, it's interesting to look at from a perspective of like, hey, it's a game of development. It's not interesting to look at in terms of like, oh my god, it's GTA 6 because it's
what details can I find out? It looks so bland and boring.
It's so
unfinished.
early. It is very
so early.
It is very early. It's very unfinished. No one's saying, oh my god, they're making another Grand Theft Auto. Of course, they're making another Grand Theft Auto. It's more interesting to look at if you are interested in game development for the most part as almost a curiosity more than anything. There's not a whole lot of information you get out of it in terms of like any info about the game. Anyway, the thread is titled GTA 6 leak 90 plus MP4 footage / videos. That's the title of it.
90 plus MP4 footage.
And the leaker just says the words, "Hi, here are 90 footage / clips of GTA 6. It's possible I could leak some more data soon. GTA 5 and 6 source code and assets. GTA 6 testing build." Now, that is a giant thing to say that you have.
Yes, that's the kind of thing that no one ever has. No. Even when CD Projekt Red got hacked, we didn't see this kind of stuff.
Yeah, apparently some of that stuff did get out there, but it was sold online, and I think CD Projekt Red bought it. So large companies like this, when they are big enough, they have the budget to basically pay a ransom.
Pay ransom.
Yes.
They have ransom money.
And look, like they should, because there's potentially quite a lot of sensitive information they can get out for some of this stuff. I
thought you were like they owe the hackers their ransom.
Fuck no. I'm not condoning this in any way. I want to be very clear. This is like a bad thing to have happened to this company, not because of we got to see some footage of Grand Theft Auto 6, but the fact that this person was able to hack into this company is a bad thing.
Like they could have found personal information, passwords, login details.
So the person who did this definitely did have access to a lot of this stuff. They went on to detail that they got into the internal Slack, which is the communication system a lot of companies use, for Rockstar, as well as Rockstar's Confluence page and system, which Confluence, for those who don't know, is a knowledge base / Wikipedia that companies use all the time to detail projects, HR information, like everything, company milestones, meeting notes, anything. It's a centralized source of information. That's bad that someone was able to get into that. This person was saying that they were the same person who hacked into Uber the other week. I have no idea if that's true or not, but as far as we're aware, they used the exact same technique, which was to pretend to be someone working in the company to get a password reset, which then allowed them to just spiral into getting into more and more systems. immediately people were like asking for more and more proof, and like this person was going back and forth and basically taking requests, saying like, what do you want to see? I can get it to you, sort of thing. And people are saying like, show me like a screenshot of this file inside this game, because someone who has knowledge about the game, and like from like modding tools, for example, was like, hey, like, you know, I understand how to read some of the files that GTA 5 uses. Like, show me a GTA 6 file version of this, and then they were posting it. Like they were giving over and over again proof, more and more and more proof. Someone who is in the middle of a lawsuit with Rockstar for selling Grand Theft Auto cheats posted in the forums, and then
my god,
and then decided, I'm going to stop posting here and call my lawyer because I probably shouldn't be involved in this conversation. You fucking moron.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Could you imagine only having that thought like 10 minutes into, like, could you imagine your first thought not being, I'm staying away from this?
Yeah, right. And like, and to be a little bit fair to them, they posted before there was a lot of proof.
Okay.
And then more proof, and then they dipped, right? Like,
yeah.
The thread honestly was pretty wild. I was going through it a lot before it got taken down. There was a lot going on. They also posted their Telegram information, saying if anyone has any more information, feel free to message my Telegram. And like I did, yeah, I did.
Did you get a response?
No, so they read it, but the Telegram has since been deleted. Because I was curious, I literally messaged them being like, hi, I saw your post. I'm just curious. Can you provide some just a little bit more context about some of it? Not interested about specific to the game, but just more about like the videos themselves. But their whole Telegram has been nuked. All of this, not great. Like the game getting leaked. Like, you know, sure, whatever, like, people are sad that some of the stuff they worked on is getting shown before they wanted to do. That's not great.
The public response has been somewhat shitty.
Oh, the public response is fucking stupid, but it's stupid every single fucking time. Anybody that doesn't like, people that refuse to learn how games are made are dumb, and they should be treated as dumb.
Yeah, like a lot of people being like, oh, I can't believe it. They've been working on this for 9 years. It's like, mate, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
9 years?
Yeah. The people who were looking at this, look, here's the thing, like, Grand Theft Auto, Take-Two, Rockstar, like, they're gonna be alright. Like,
they're fine. They're fine.
They are fine.
No one feels sad for the company. Feel sad for the artists and the developers.
So it goes on. It goes on for a little bit. What happens after this is maybe more interesting. I'm not sure if you know about this, Kerry. I don't know how closely you've been following it. The hacker has since this is I'm now reading tweets from Tom Henderson, who was following it more closely and has a couple of good summary tweets. A couple of GTA 6 leaks. Updates. The hacker has requested that someone from Rockstar / Take-Two contact them after going, quote, unexpectedly viral, as if they were not going to be yeah, right.
I mean, I can actually believe that as that being their mindset, because if they thought they could post 90 videos of what they knew to be legitimate development footage of a game that we haven't seen in the wild yet, for like the sequel to the biggest game ever sold, literally ever,
yeah,
and not be taken down for it, when they would, there's so much lack of thought going into that, considering that they knew it was real.
And like, as far as I'm aware, I've seen this talked about quite a lot as if it's fact. I haven't fact checked it myself, but people are talking about the Uber hack, the one that, so if those of you that aren't aware, Uber had a massive hack the other day that compromised their internal Slack channels, their Amazon AWS, a ton of finance information. Like, it's going to be like a thing. That's going to be like a huge story over the next couple of months.
Right, like the Sony hack.
Like, I think it's actually worse than that. Because this could potentially have like damaging lawsuits against Uber. People are talking about the person who hacked Uber to be an 18-year-old.
Okay.
Which is like, I don't know if the person who hacked Rockstar and the person who hacked Uber it was the same person. But people are talking about the Uber hackers if they're 18 years old. The language this Rockstar hacker is using is pretty immature.
Yeah, it also seems borderline English not as a first language.
Like perhaps. But I think maybe them talking about themselves going unexpectedly viral, like they kind of got quite nervous quite quickly.
Right.
Which makes me think they didn't quite realize they obviously
what
knew
they were doing.
Like they clearly knew what they were doing, but they maybe didn't quite realize that what they were doing was actually trying to extort a major company.
Yeah.
So they were saying, if you're an employee of Rockstar trying to contact me, send me a message containing blah, 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 blah on Telegram. And then we started to see legitimate Take-Two interactive DMCA things. They then said the hacker has updated the original post saying that they are, quote, looking to negotiate a deal. Which is like, what are you doing?
Like it's a hostage situation. My goodness.
Then it goes on. A person pretending to be a Rockstar / Take-Two employee managed to speak with the hacker. Because how would they verify that they work at Take-Two?
Right.
Once again states that he has source code and told him that the, quote, IT team can check the logs for proof. This is via someone on Twitter named John Hay, who apparently was the one who was impersonating the hacker to talk to this person. Sorry, impersonating a employee.
An employee.
Then we see some information come out saying that the hacker has now said he will sell GTA 5 source code and assets and will not accept any offers under 5 figures. The GTA 6 source code is not for sale at this moment.
5 figures! Oh, so watch out, big spender.
It continues.
5 figures.
They were also looking to only sell it through Bitcoin. Update
the game that made $1 billion in one day or something, and they
no. They were looking to sell the source code, which means that GTA 5 would immediately become exploitable through every avenue.
So, I understand. Yeah. I just find that they're like, I'm not going to accept any offer that's less than $10,000.
Yeah,
it's like, really? Wow.
Only wanting it through Bitcoin. And then so that was at 4 a.m. our time. Then at 6:30 a.m. our time, update on the Bitcoin purchase. The hacker has confirmed it wasn't his address and someone has been scammed using his name. So the hacker wasn't selling the source code. Someone pretending to be the hacker.
So someone sent some other random person more than 5 figures for nothing.
Someone sent $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to someone pretending to be the hacker.
And then they fucked off.
And then they left without providing anything because they were pretending to be someone who hacked a company.
Wow.
Which, out of the entire story, that might be the funniest part of it. Is that someone was like, there. So they made a secondary account and their account was about like 10 or 15 random letters. And they had made an account which was that same thing, but 2 of the letters were swapped like 3/4 of the way through the name.
Yeah.
And then managed to get $100,000 tax-free dollars.
Bitcoin dollars.
And what's the person who paid $100,000 going to say? Go to the cops and say, I tried to buy some illegally obtained source code to a game so I could exploit it?
Yeah.
The only way that money gets returned is if that was actually Rockstar doing like paying a ransom to try and get the money back. So funny. Look, since then, many people, Jason Schreier has come out to say, I've spoken to developers at Rockstar Take-Two. They have confirmed that the game is indeed real. It started to get serious enough that was becoming obvious. Especially they were sharing screen grabs of Confluent. The moment I started seeing Confluent's articles, I'm like, this is legit. This is 100% legit.
Yeah, when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that actually sounds pretty legit. And then Schreier did confirm it later on. He was like, not that there was much doubt when he wrote that, and I was like, oh. I doubted it. But he was like, I've confirmed with many of my people who I know from Rockstar that it is indeed legitimate.
Yeah.
Sam in the chat says, hacker pretends to be staff member, journalist pretends to be a staff member to speak to hacker, scammer pretends to be hacker to scam some other schmuck.
Yeah.
It's like burn after reading.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a fun 12 hours to be honest, in terms of like I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I've never seen someone leak so much of a game and take requests before. That was the most shocking thing to me.
No one has.
Like, to be...
Even without the requests, even if this was just like a dump and run, even if it was just the 90 videos, that is immense.
It's a ton of
a game so early, of a game so huge, right?
And we've heard rumors here and there about what the next GTA 6 is going to be. Like, talking about how, they're going to go back to Vice City. We've seen this leak. Now we know it's set in Vice City. We've seen it's going to be two protagonists, a boy and a girl. And we've seen two protagonists, a boy and a girl. The code name is Americas. We knew that for a while. There's a bit more confirmation, I think, in this. It lines up with everything that we've seen. And so not all of it was new information. But, still, that was a ton of information. It reminded me. It did remind me of the Cyberpunk hack, which we got to see pre-alpha footage back when that was a third-person game.
Yeah, totally. Although the hack happened after the game launched, didn't it?
Yes. The Cyberpunk hack did happen well after the game launched.
Yeah. I was thinking that if the public response, which seems it hasn't been big enough to warrant this, but I was thinking if the public response was big, negative enough that something Rockstar could do would be to show the 2009 build of GTA 5 and be like, this is what the game you've spent thousands of hours playing looks like 4 years before it came out.
That would have been good.
It clearly looks nothing like what you were so familiar with. So chill out.
Yeah.
There's this one tweet that I retweeted that I really liked. It's from Kirk McKeon, who writes, gamers looking at raw chicken and going, fucking hell, this curry looks awful.
Yeah, I was going through people talking about, the leak, and some people saying, I think leaks are bad full stop. Some people, saying, my personal opinion is that I think that if a leak messes up a company's marketing strategy, I don't care.
Who cares? Yeah.
I can understand people who worked on the project being I'm sad that the thing that I worked on didn't get to show off in the way that I wanted to work on it. The way I wanted to show it off. I can understand that. I think that overall publishers should be far more transparent with what they're working on, and show more games in this state. So people who are not into this in a big way will see it and understand what they're looking at in terms of just I think this looks bad. No shit, it's not done. No one looks at the set pictures of a Marvel movie and say, hey, there's no special effects. Right?
Yeah. Why is the background green?
Right? And as always, one of the smartest people in games, Imran Khan, tweeted, I feel like all leaked discourse problems could be solved if we didn't have such a secretive culture on things that are in development. When I see a movie set being shot by some dude with a phone camera, I don't go, wow, I thought they were going to use real cameras. Hell, you could argue it's movies becoming more secretive that is making them worse. That's why Marvel is afraid to use real sets anymore. Thus, the movies feel like the lack of sense of space. People can handle in development footage if we stop treating them like taboo. People who create monsters, I can't believe this monster is destroying my city. Also, the sequel to the most profitable piece of media of all time is probably going to be fine, whatever people are dunking on it for today. Anyway, this is a multifaceted problem with no singular answer, but my point of all of it comes from hype and marketing-driven cycles that we are allowed publishers to cultivate, and now we accept as an out-and-out positive without question. This is the bed that big publishers have made for themselves, and I think they need to be more responsible in terms of educating their market.
Yeah, and we've seen a trend towards more and more open communication, obviously there's been that very discernible trend of more developers being more comfortable to delay their games and take longer to release them and make sure they're better. And that kind of happened because Cyberpunk came out and was what it was, and sort of in a similar way to how microtransactions ramped up until we hit Battlefront 2 being so negative, and then it was like, all right, that's the bubble has burst. This is clearly dreadful. It's toxic. People want to get away from it. And we're definitely starting to see that. But yeah, there's got to be something more long form. And it's interesting saying that regarding this topic, because Rockstar are so clamped down with this stuff. With all of their releases historically, they've been so clamped down. Like, when did it was, I want to say it was less than a year before the release of GTA 5 when we saw the first trailer for it. Like, it was nothing. One trailer, and then like nothing for 6 more months. Here's a longer trailer with more gameplay and stuff like that. It's coming out in a season or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was same with Red Dead 2. It was, I think, it was 8 months between announcement and release. And yeah, like I think that there should be more transparency. A lot of that stuff. And I think, a big part of there has been more of that lately, and a lot of that I think is due to people like NoClip, being able to get that access, which is really good. And I think the thing that's important to know is that NoClip, at the end of the day, they need to be the most interested in stories that they want to tell. And they had to play with that line when they got access to do a video on Fallout 76 before the game was announced. And they got wept up in this thing of like, is this marketing? It kind of was, because it was
pre-release,
but it was span, right? Like they were in a marketing position via Bethesda, right? Bethesda gave them the information that they wanted to give them. And like, the response to that game when it came out was overwhelmingly negative, and NoClip had this weird like they were kind of holding a bag in a way. Like, not that it's their fault, but they had put out this quite positive thing on this game. Documentary on this game, which the game itself ended up being quite a negative experience for everybody that was playing it. On the flip side of that was like Final Fantasy XIV, which if anyone has not seen the documentary, it's incredible, talking about the death of the previous version and the rebirth of Realm Reborn. Danny actually tweeted about the Rockstar thing, saying, I think the argument that gamers don't actually have the capacity to understand more about how games are made is weak. A lot of it is about doing the work to provide deeper context. Studios can choose to do it, but it requires time, scary changes in thinking, and a lot of uncommon expertise, which I think is very true. That a lot of them don't have a vested interest in doing that. Probably because in the end of the day, if they don't do that, they can sell more pre-orders, which I think is gross.
Yeah, totally.
And
we haven't gone to it yet, but I played NBA today, and that's got a thing at the main menu where it shows you like a promotions page, or it's like, oh, this thing's happening this week. There was 5 items on it, and 4 of them were ways to spend virtual currency.
Yeah,
and then the 5th one was like, check out the story mode.
Yeah. And yeah, like he was responding to someone else saying capacity interest. Some folks have some folks talking about like how like some people are just generally not interested in how the sausage is made. And yeah, Danny's basically saying like he personally thinks that it's an untapped area, and that there is room for more people to do stories like that. But NoClip can only scratch the surface with the resources they have. So,
yeah, it's truly fascinating. I don't think this is going to have an effect on what the game is. If this leak has any sort of effect on the design of the game based on like feedback from then I think that would be a serious issue, because we're dealing with people who don't understand enough. The people who are loudest about this are the people who understand the least about what they're actually seeing.
I can't see there be any drastic changes based on any of this stuff. Like, I think that you can cut through that noise pretty quickly to say the people that are complaining about it don't really know anything about how games are made.
And the people who are making the games know plenty about how games are being made because it's one of the biggest developers in the world. They can pay for some of the best developers in the world. Like, it's a very strange time.
The thing I'm most
strange thing to have happened.
The thing I'm most curious about is seeing the finished product and comparing it to this, just to see what's changed. Just because I find that stuff interesting, but aside from that, like it's.
Yeah, I hope someone's got the videos and is sitting on them, so we can see them at the time.
Yes, they are. People would have saved them. It was.
I hope they remember to post them. Is the thing. I hope they remember to post them in like 3 to 5 years when GTA 6 comes out. When maybe Take-Two cares a bit less.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe they won't. Like maybe they'll always take those videos down. But
maybe, but I can see them caring less about it once it comes out. You know, like at some point you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you for the recap, Jeremy. I wasn't following that for a lot of the time.
It's fun.
We're at 40 minutes. What do you say we go to a break now, and then we can do what we've been playing, and then if we do that fast enough, we can do maybe another break going into the next thing.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
And if we take forever with what we've been playing, maybe we'll just call it an episode. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, we're going to go for a quick break, and then when we come back, you get to hear all about how I'm furious with NBA. Won't be long. See you in a sec. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. It's been a short break, been a nice break. We were listening to Super Mario 64 Plays Radiohead, which was surprisingly excellent. Whether it's because of the Super Mario 64 or the Radiohead, it's hard to tell. Probably both. We're gonna we've done a little swapperoo. We didn't start with what we've been playing. We're gonna do that now though. We're gonna start with what we've been playing. For this week. What did we talk about last week? Was last week when we spoke about The Last of Us, Jeremy? Surely not. Surely that was more.
No,
what did we talk about last week?
What, in terms of games?
Yeah.
I played Disney. You did. What did you?
I don't remember what I played last week.
I can just double check if I check on the website.
I spoke about Destiny for ages. We spoke about Destiny for ages, didn't we?
That was a little bit of Destiny. That was actually primarily because you did the Taken King raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I'd talk about it for like 3 minutes, and we spoke about it for like 25 minutes.
Yeah, we're talking about how it's good that the expansions are staying.
Well, Jeremy, this week, it's time to talk about something I never thought I would talk about, which is NBA 2K23.
Yeah.
Last time I played a sports game, I think I was 6. I'm much older than 6 now. So that previous experience is doing me next to no good today. I've literally only played it today. But I've brought it up because I had the unique experience of playing something that made me so legitimately frustrated and upset in real life. I wasn't expecting it, and I had the pleasure of becoming legitimately tilted because of this game today. And I want to tell you all why, so that I don't have to suffer alone. To start off, this basketball game, one of dozens that have been released over the last dozen years, turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Is like fine, is my honest appraisal of it. I look at it and I'm like, why is everything 30 frames per second until you get to the court? Like, the court is the only place where the frame rate goes higher than 30.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird walk around town mode in the My Career thing that's like 20 frames per second on PlayStation 5. It's awful. It's horrendous. I hate it. It's not fun. The areas aren't interesting. It's so slow. I don't find the character animations particularly good. I think the voice acting for everyone is great, but they're all just playing people, like barely even characters. Everyone's just a person. So it's like I don't. And to be fair, I'm not a basketball fan, so that I'm going into that like that's not helping the situation.
Yeah,
but a number of the things surrounding it are just they're not endearing themselves to me. Like I said before, the microtransactions are egregious, just so in your face from the very start. Like even on the main menu, it's not even like upgrade to the deluxe edition. It's like buy more packs of cards, please.
I was just perusing the reviews of 2K22 just to sort of see what the general vibe of it was.
22 or 3?
22. Are you playing 23?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah, I forget that they're a year ahead. Well, at least the review for 22 is very funny. From Kotaku, written by one Luke Plunkett. He begins the review saying, "I can't do it anymore. This is the year that NBA 2K has turned me into the Joker."
So I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, right. I gotta learn how to play this game so I can play it. Time to play the tutorial, right? And so I go looking for it. I'm like, this menu is quite unintuitive. Which one of these very similar sounding things is it? Okay, there's this one. It's like NBU or something like that. And so it says, learn the basics or practice the elite skills or whatever. And then in parentheses, it's something in this like long 5-line description. It says tutorial. I'm like, okay, here's the tutorial. Right. I jump in. The tutorial is a list of moves in categories. So there's like shooting, defense, dribbling, passing, something else, triple threat, whatever the hell that means. They don't tell you what that means. They don't tell you what anything means. Like, and that's it. And in those categories, some of those categories have 30 different moves in them. And it's like, this is how you can dribble your ball while you're holding it in your right hand to like toss it between your legs to your left. And this is how to do it to toss it between your legs to the right. Move the stick in different directions at different speeds to do different moves. Sometimes it's super nondescript and other times it's just like try pressing the stick to the right and then letting go. Try pressing the stick to the bottom right and then letting go. And they're all different names like lay up and step off and all of this random shit that they don't tell you, which I guess is fine if you watch basketball, but if you don't and you want to play the game, you're at a complete fucking loss. It's the worst onboarding experience I've had in a long time. It's really, 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 really bad. Really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember last time I played a sport game that I didn't know a lot about.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done it to the point. So it's hard, right?
It is. Sam's saying it's like you need a tips video to help you play it. I meant to try and make one, but I don't know how to even get good enough at the game to start even beginning to write a script for this thing. Like it feels like a complete farce. And so I mentioned I went into my old workplace to buy it. So I spoke to some old colleagues there, some friends, and I messaged the person I bought it from like later today, and he was excited that I was playing it because he buys those games and not many other people that he knows does. And I messaged him, I'm like, what the hell am I meant to, how is this meant to work? Am I meant to have known how to play this since I walked out of the womb? Like, there's no onboarding for something. It's so complex. I've never seen this controller have to be used for so many unique inputs. The right stick does dribbling, defense, stealing, shooting, all on this one little analog stick, and I've got to remember all of the things it does. It's unreal, Jeremy. And this is what the right stick does when you hold the right trigger. So all of a sudden there's a second layer of like what the right stick does. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll get into the my career mode. Maybe that's some sort of betterness. Maybe that will help me out. Thank God I'd even looked at the moves for an hour before I started that mode, because there's no easing you in.
Yeah.
I'm on the easiest difficulty, and I'm getting ruined by this team because I don't know how to defend, because there's no defense tutorials tab in this little thing. There's like...
That's so weird. I was playing Mario Strikers early this year.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of tutorials. There was tutorials about everything, about how to pass. There was like an entire tutorial about just like how to pass a ball, and then how to shoot on goal, and then how to swap characters.
I would have paid another $30 to have that experience, to not have had the experience I had today, to have something like that. Like, I can't believe they didn't have something like that, where it's like, even like, oh, are you familiar with basketball? Do you need a refresher on the rules? There's nothing like that. You can't learn the rules of basketball in this basketball game.
Yeah, right.
What's the fucking point? All this game is, it's there to just hook anyone who has a game console and likes the sport, pull them in, and then sap all the money from them for a year until they buy the next one, which they do for some reason. I just can't believe it. I can't believe how intricate it is. It's the most popular simulation game I've ever seen, because they've made it so intricate with how you can dribble the ball and like pretend to throw it. Look, you can pretend to throw the ball 8 different ways. How cool is that? I don't like. What's the shoot button?
Yeah, that's. I've never thought about it.
Clearly, neither is 2K games.
Yeah.
And clearly it doesn't matter to them either. Because if it did, if they were worried about onboarding new players, they'd onboard new players. But they don't. It doesn't matter. They already know that they've got millions and millions and millions of people hooked, buying these games for $100, $110, $120 a year, each year, and then spending hundreds more dollars on the microtransactions for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yep.
It's wild. I can't believe. And honestly, I just don't think the game's that good.
Right.
Like, I don't think it looks that great. I don't think the My Career... I don't think anyone thinks the My Career stuff is that great. The reason people go to that game is because of the microtransaction mode, which for some reason people enjoy legitimately.
People can enjoy... Like, look, yeah. The ultimate team equivalent in 2K, whatever it is, like, it's collecting the cards. I can understand, but yeah, it is very predatory.
Yeah,
it's always been, and people have written to death about how bad it is.
Super scummy. I just can't believe there's no tutorial in there. It's so upsetting. Moving on to the next biggest franchise in the bloody world. We're talking about GTA, we're talking about NBA 2K. Now we're going to talk about Call of Duty for a brief minute. This is just because I don't have too much to say about this, but the free beta went live today. It's been going on all weekend for people who pre-ordered the game, but the free beta is here today. I played an hour and a half. Mostly because you were mentioning that you seemed interested in looking at the game when it came out, which is in about a month now.
Of what? Sorry?
So I was like, oh, pardon?
I was interested?
Yeah. It's on the calendar, isn't it? You were like, oh, maybe we'll look at it for that. That can be that week's game when it comes out.
Modern Warfare?
It's a big game release. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2.
I think I just put it in there only because I put it in the calendar.
I don't know. I remember when you put it in there and I was like, are we going to play that? And you were like, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's on Game Pass, isn't it?
That hasn't gone through yet.
I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass.
I don't know. I don't remember that. I feel like I would.
Game Pass. Will Modern Warfare 2? It isn't on Game Pass.
No, I didn't think it was.
Because I thought it was.
No, because they've got Modern Warfare 2 has got a really big PlayStation marketing.
Well, yeah,
campaign.
it's got the beta exclusivity.
They also have like game mode exclusivity.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah, no, it's not on Game Pass. Okay, it's not on Game Pass. But watching gameplay of it of the last few days, it has been interesting seeing it, and it's kind of that thing. I think I've spoken about this before, but there's a Call of Duty itch in my brain that needs scratching every like 3 years.
Yeah, right.
Comes around where if I do play a game, I'm like, oh yeah, interesting. I'll play Call of Duty for a while, and then the next one comes out, I'm like, and then finally one comes around, I'm like, ooh, Call of Duty. I could go for some Call of Duty.
Does your 3-year itch for Call of Duty time with it being the same developer every time that you want to play?
No.
Oh, okay.
It used to, but no, it doesn't.
Yeah, right.
So, it was Infinity Ward and Treyarch and Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward and then Treyarch and Infinity Ward. It's been interesting to play. It feels like a good classic return for Call of Duty. Like, it's actually... I know people have kind of been saying that for a while, and I didn't play the first Modern Warfare, but this actually seems pretty good in like a classic kind of way. I didn't vibe that well with Black Ops Cold War, which was the last one I played, in terms of its multiplayer suite, but this one seems like it's got some... It could be decent fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's just interesting going back and seeing how they're trying to keep it relevant. And like, there's a point I was looking at their operators, and I was like, oh yeah, all the operators, they had like unique abilities at some point, right? Are they still doing that? And they're not, thank God. But like the weapon platform stuff that they're doing, I think is interesting. The way that you do unlocks is like each like receiver can be like an SMG or an LMG or an assault rifle, and so all of the unlocks carry across the different weapons, which is interesting. It's strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm more interested in the game than I thought I would be, just from the footage, and from playing it. I'm like, I would consider this. I was more keen on it when I thought it was on Game Pass. I doubt I'm going to go out and buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I honestly thought you were getting ready to definitely play it.
I mean, it's like, look, Modern Warfare 2, the original, has like such a big like nostalgia soft spot for me. Like, I played a ton of that game.
Yeah, I mean, that was... I remember... I didn't have it when it came out, but I remember all the kids in like year 8 and year 9, when I was in year 8 and year 9.
Yeah.
Just talking about Modern Warfare with their friends during class.
Yep.
And then talking about how they'd go home, which didn't take them like an hour and a half like it took me, and playing until dinner. And one person who was pretty proud of yelling at their mum about how they didn't want to go to bed. And I'm like, oh, you got some issues.
It's the same demographic, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'll wait for reviews. That's not a game I need to get before I know how good it is.
So let me ask you this: you did jump on the first Modern Warfare reboot, the last Modern Warfare game in 2019.
Yes,
when that came out.
Yeah.
What was it about that game that you wanted to jump on, but you're not feeling that with this?
Like, it was twofold. I think that game looked incredible visually. Like the animations, the lighting, the texture. Like, that game, like, I think still looks really good. I was also buying more games back then and playing less. I had far less, I lived at home at that point, right? Like, I didn't, I had less responsibilities. I didn't have rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a level of excitement around that one that I think it was them going back to something that people had a very big soft spot for. I haven't seen as much of that this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different...
Yeah.
They're remaking the second one now, and like that's still good, but like we know what the remakes are like. And like they are good quality remakes.
Wow, reboots, right? They're not one for one.
Yes, no, you're right. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Call of Duty catching me off guard. I thought it was interesting. And then we come to the mystery game.
Yeah, what is
for the
this?
week.
What is this mystery game that you have teased ever so mischievously?
Jeremy, the
year
year
you got
is
a fucking song. Oh god,
the year is 2019. And on the streets of Revachol, Kim Kitsuragi and his detective partner are trying to find out what happened to the hanged man in the backyard of the Whirling in Rags hostel.
go on.
That's right, Jeremy. I installed and then played, unlike last time, Disco Elysium.
Tell me everything.
We haven't. So this, first of all, you were right the last time we spoke about this, which was a month or two ago. That this was a good one for Sam and I to play together. Sam loves it. It's a very good vibe for them to sort of look in and then go in and out of. I was stuck in the character creator screen for a good half an hour reading every description of what I can't even remember all the names.
There's so many.
Yeah, all of the trait characteristics. But your physical characteristics and your fight or flight and your the one that lets you talk to clothes and
like reaction speed, but there's also internal monologue,
vigor and yeah. So we spent ages looking at that, and I'm like, okay, I want a person who's really smart and really physically inept, and we'll see how we go with that.
Yep, good one.
And my guy wakes up, and I was thinking, I remember you were telling a story the first time we spoke about this, and I'm like, this sounds pretty wild. Let's see where this goes. My guy wakes up, he's super drunk, super hungover, doesn't remember anything. Hearing the narration of these component parts talk about this world, and it's so well written and so poetic. There's a lot of mismatch errors between the voiceover work and the written dialogue. Like there's almost always an incorrect thing in one line of dialogue.
Yeah, and I think I weirdly kind of like it only in terms of it's I think this one reads better and I think this one sounds better.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my guy gets up and I'm trying to figure out the controls. We're playing on PS5 and I'm like, oh, okay, right stick sort of shows you the interactables in the area and lets you lock onto different things. Oh, I can catch this tie. Let's see what. Press X and they're like, okay, you can roll for a check. They're like, oh, there's pull chains on this to turn the light on, to turn the fan off, or you could just try and catch the tie off of the fan while it's still moving. And that one's a check. That one's a whatever your reaction speed check is.
Yeah.
I fail the check. I lose 1 health. My character dies.
Yes.
Of a heart attack, and that's the end of the game.
Yes. Yep.
And we laughed, and we laughed, and we laughed.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, this is what happened to Jeremy.
Yeah, almost exactly. I got at least...
Was that you got slapped by one of the kids and that was -1 health and you died?
No, I threw a punch and missed the punch and fell on the ground and that was -1.
That's right.
That was either -1 health or -1 morale. I had one of whatever one it was. I don't remember. It might have been health.
-1 morale.
Yeah, and
it's over.
And I only had 1 morale, and then it was you fail, and it was police officer has a mental breakdown while.
There's the paper at the end. Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, okay, they really committed to that. So then I made my character slightly less intelligent with slightly more health. So now I've got 2 health. I've just got a slight buffer. So I can go for a check, and if it really messes up, I'll just back off, find some drugs to fix that bit, and then try something else later. And whatever that one was called, I can't remember what that check was called. But when I earned a skill point, I was looking around. I was like, oh, which one should I level up? That one's at 0. I'm like, no way. All right, that one is getting leveled up. I need something to at least try to catch this code on the railing, and not slip and kill myself. But yeah, what a game. We had so much time just interacting with everything and talking to everyone and following every line of conversation. The conversation you have with with your police precinct, with your communications officer who's manning the telephone, and then the whole office is in the background listening to the conversation because you have to report in that you lost your badge, and so everyone starts making fun of you over the phone. Like that whole time, the character of the communications manager, every time they go the extra mile of having him relaying the message you just said to him to the rest of the station, and then you hear what they say because they're saying it loud enough that you can hear it, and then he relays it back to you in this cold, sarcastic, like kind of weary voice. He never laughs along with them, but the way he phrases things is like his own sort of comedy.
Yeah.
Like that scene went for like half an hour and was just gold the entire time.
Yeah. Yep.
And you could be so weird and quirky.
Yes.
Like
they allow
I licked
you to
a rum
play
stain off a table.
Yeah. They allow you to play in that sandbox.
Yep. And one of the tips is be weird. Say some weird stuff. People are more forgiving than you might think. It's like, okay, you're letting me, just have a bit of fun. Okay. And there was there's a woman in a wheelchair in the lobby, and like she's quite nice, and you can speak to her, and you could be like, "You want to roll with us?" and then if you keep going with that line of questioning, you'd be like, "Sorry, I was making a joke about your wheelchair, but that's pretty insensitive."
Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, don't worry, dear." Like she's so sweet.
Yep. I spoke to the race supremacist on top of the bridge, and I'm sitting there, and there was a check which was like, what was it called? It was convert to race theory.
Yes, yeah.
Which I passed, and then the idea being that I convinced this guy that it's fine to move past him, and I can open the gate and end the strike, and we can go through and investigate the area more. But what ended up happening is I have to listen to this guy talk for ages about all of these false different race theories about which different peoples are superior to others and for why. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is so well written because I think everything that this person is saying is absolute shite. I'm so bored and I have to put up with this so I can get the thing that I want to get. And I just want him to stop talking.
So beyond that, you then have to leave, and you have to you gain.
Oh, you have to think on it.
Yeah, you have to gain the advanced race theory trait by thinking on it for like an hour and a half or something, and then you have to come back once you have developed a thought about it, and then present that thought to Measurehead, which is a great name.
Measurehead, yes, that's right, that's his name.
And after that, then it's like, then at that point it takes up a slot, and you only have a limited amount of those.
Once you research them, are they stuck there?
I think you can remove them after the fact, but I think they take a resource to do.
Oh, because you can remove them while they're being researched.
I don't remember. It's been a hot minute. I don't remember.
That there's only like 6 or 9 slots for that stuff, but there's like 60 possible things you can put in those slots. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
he's called. Oh yeah, that's right. Sam says that's right. He's called Measurehead because of his phrenology tattoos. Because he got tattooed on himself the ideal physiology of the right proportions of the human body.
Yeah,
and it works on him because he is that.
Yes. Yeah.
So his head is literally measured.
There's a great moment where like in every playthrough I've done, there's always been a moment where like it's just you're just walking through the street and then like an event will trigger, which is like it's your internal monologue talking to you, and it's like, hey, have you thought about communism? And then you have this moment where you can decide whether or not you want to like, I think let's go and do communism. And then you have the usual thought like, learn what communism is.
Yeah. You get so many tasks, and half of them are just you giving yourself tasks.
It's so
like
good.
you don't have the agency to decide for yourself whether you're going to sing karaoke or not. You just are going to now go sing karaoke because you had this thought, and you are now like, there's no choice but to follow this thought's line of questioning all the way through.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely fascinating game. They really let you role play with the stats in a way that kind of makes me feel like I have no idea what to do next half the time. Like, and all the conversations take a while. I'm not skipping through anything.
Yeah, so the more playthroughs you get through, either fail or like get to different, like usually fail, you will have an idea of what you should be doing.
Almost like a death loop scenario.
Kinda, yeah, but then you know which conversations you can skip. Because you can, like, you've been through them, and they're all pretty fucking memorable.
They are memorable, and a lot of them will either give you a little quest or give you +5 experience or +30 experience at times.
Yeah.
And then you get those random checks where there's the guy who's striking, and because my perception was at a high enough level, my inner monologue's like, this guy's wearing clothes that doesn't fit him, and he's just kind of shouting, but I think he's not meant to be here. And then there's a check you can do. There's a role you can go for, which is follow that line of questioning, which is like, hey, why are you here? And that goes through this whole thing. And then you get, like, if you pass that check and you go through it, you follow this whole line of questioning and you get this bunch of experience points. It's really quite gratifying.
Yeah.
You know, passing on a low percent chance always happens, which is it's like, whoa, no way. And then failing a high percent chance is like, ah, shit. And then failing the low percent chance is like, oh yeah, of course. The check at the body, which was like, try to unplug your nose and not throw up, for me is like 27% chance. And so I haven't done that yet, but it turns out I definitely have to try to do that for the investigation.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, you have to, like, that is the thing you should be focusing on, I think, at least for the beginning. Like explore and get a good lay of the land.
Which I've done.
Yeah. But like, have you gone all the way up to the left and spoken to the classic liberal, and the anarchist?
No, I haven't. I've done most. I've done the kids in the backyard.
Yeah.
The manager at the Whirling in Rags, the strike area, the cop car, and that took us about 3 or 4 hours across 2 nights. Yeah.
There's a bit more of River Shoal that is immediately accessible to you, which has got quite a bit more. Like, go left. There's the bookshop. There's a couple of abandoned buildings which have got some interesting quest lines. And then there's like a classic liberal, and a anarchist. And there's a bit more around there as well. There's also, like, behind the body. There's in some areas as well you can go.
Yeah, I found a shed, and I climbed the roof of the shed, and I found my old jacket, which hopefully has either my badge or my gun in it.
Yeah, right.
But the check I tried to do for it didn't work, so I got to go back there later. But yeah, what a fascinating game. I haven't seen a game that goes this hard before in the role-playing sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a drastically forward integral part of the game where they show you your percentage chances and which roles you can try again and which ones you can't. And the way you start the game is by picking a character type and stuff like that. Like, that's not new to RPGs, but this is, I don't know, it does it in a really engaging way that it pulls you into those systems.
Yeah.
It helps you engage with those systems rather than dumping the systems on you like NBA did. I didn't even get to the character creator before, where it's like, oh, please distribute these 6,000 points.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, test your build. Anyway. I felt, because that was the kind of thing. I started this and I look at the screen and I say to myself, oh, okay, what kind of character is my person going to be? And normally I don't do that. If it's a Mass Effect, a Fallout, a Skyrim, I don't really do that. But this had me doing that from the start and wanting to and engaging with it. And I think that in and of itself is a feat.
Yes.
And then they keep pulling you through once you even start the game as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's an amazing thing. Like, you know, PC Gamer rated it the best PC game of all time. Like, I get it.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing that it's like, you know, esports gamers probably wouldn't enjoy it because it's a lot of sitting and listening to people. But like, it's so well written.
Yeah.
And the music and the different characters, the accents. Kim is so good and like sarcastic and like just putting up with you, but then will also like just not take any shit from racists on the street. And like, the game's really fun.
Yeah.
And really engaging. Really good.
Yeah.
That's it for me for this week. It's now time for Jeremy's Fortnite.
Yeah, the
I'm like, oh no, he's pressing buttons. What's he gonna do? It's alright, it's just an air horn, everybody.
Yeah. I still genuinely want to make a stupidly overproduced graphic that's like the Fortnite for like shoot like cracks and like all that stuff.
Yep. That would be cool with sound, as well.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find an easy stock one that I can edit. That's under a license I can use. Yeah, it's the welcome to the second episode of the Fortnite.
It's been a fortnight.
It's been a fortnight. What has happened in the last 2 weeks of Fortnite, I hear you ask?
Yes.
Well, the season has ended, Kerry. Season...
Oh, no.
Sorry, the chapter? There's a new season.
No.
Season... which way?
Chapter 3, Season 4 is what is happening.
Okay, I was under the impression it was Season 3, Chapter 4.
Nope.
Okay. You would know. I would not.
It's at the very least it's chapter 3. It's either season 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah, right, okay. The season has ended. Yes, you're right. Chapter 3, season 4. This is the season that has come out today. The overall previous season, the season that got me to play the game again, has ended. The Vibin season. But that was partly the
Darth
reason.
Vader season.
Yeah, it was partly the reason I wanted to come back. Is like I enjoyed the feeling of the Vibin season. You know, there was
it was very like yellows and blues and pinks.
Yeah, pastel-y colors. You know, like
it wasn't vaporwave, but it was
it wasn't vaporwave, but it was maybe adjacent. It was summer wave. You know, there was beach balls, there was sunglasses, there was, you know, the suntan like thingos, right? And Darth Vader, and Goku, the
and Goku.
Goku. Now we are up to the season known as Paradise. So the map has changed. There's a couple new abilities. The Kamehameha, Spirit Bomb is gone.
That's good.
The Nimbus Cloud is gone. I don't think Darth Vader lands on the map anymore. Is no longer an NPC you can fight.
What? You could do that?
Yeah, you can fight him, and he's got the only lightsaber in the game, and if you kill him, you get to wield it. Because the Darth Vader skin does not come with a lightsaber because it was a weapon.
It's funny how frequently they bring that around. Like, oh, lightsabers are back, everyone.
Yeah, it's also Anakin's saber, which is not canon. This new season you can go through walls with a special item, and it's all about goo. It's all about chrome goo.
Yeah, I saw a trailer for that today.
It also has Spider-Gwen, and a in-game character who is played by Brie Larson.
Great.
And looks like Brie Larson, which is maybe the most amazing thing, that like it actually looks like her.
But Jeremy, what about The Rock? Why are we getting Brie Larson instead of The Foundation, played by The Rock?
I don't know what happened with that. Maybe I should catch up on Fortnite.
I can tell you what happened with that. He was there for the end of chapter 2, and they can't afford him for every other chapter, every other season. So he'll be back in like a year.
When they make the Fortnite movie, because of course they're going to, he'll be there. That'll be in his contract, I reckon.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spider-Gwen is the licensed hero for the season. And
She looks. I saw people posting what she looks like in the store. She looks ripped, exactly out of Spider-Verse.
Yeah, she looks great. Like it is. I mean, like, yeah, the Spider-Verse. The Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen is like excellent.
Yeah,
and looks ripped straight out of the comic book. So yeah, they are using that great design. Couple of the characters, I don't know. It's I don't know what the beginning of seasons are really like now that I know how to play the game, I guess. They have removed Port-a-Fort and have added they what?
Could you please say that again?
Port-a-Fort.
Thank you.
And they have added Port-a-Bunker.
Okay.
Which is the same.
What's the difference?
Port-a-Fort is a tall structure that has a bouncy pad at the bottom to allow you to gain immediate height.
Okay.
Port-a-Bunker is I think it's a 1x1 meter metal cube you put yourself in to like help you gain like a little like a hunker bunker.
Hunker.
Yeah, I don't know. I read through the patch notes and I'm like, oh, this is all lost on me. I'm curious to see how the map has changed. So
they haven't jumped in yet.
It happened this morning at like 3 a.m. or something.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
like
right,
it is like it is. I haven't even finished updating it because we had to do the podcast. But yeah, that's the Fortnite. I will.
How were the final weeks of the season?
They're all right. I got to the end of the battle pass. I got Darth Vader and I got Indiana Jones in the both variations: Indiana Jones regular and Indiana Jones ripped shirt. There was a fun little Indiana Jones little puzzle to do, which was kind of neat. There was like a temple with different little symbols on the four corners of it that you had to travel to, because each time you played the game, the symbols changed, which I thought was neat. And then when you change the little things to match the symbols, a big chamber opens up, and that chamber has pressure plates that will shoot arrows at you. And then you pick up the idol, and a boulder chases you back down that thing.
There you go.
Which was cute. But then if you went back after the boulder chased you all the way down and went back down, there was a hidden secret room behind it, which was the final quest of the Indiana Jones little event thing.
Does Indiana Jones do that where the boulder chases him and then he goes back? Is that a...
No. In the movie... Oh, God, I haven't seen that movie. In that movie, the boulder then blocks off the entrance to the temple that is plundering.
Yep.
It was fun coming into a season where the bloody capsule corp keeps on landing everywhere. It was pretty fun. Kamehameha was pretty fun. Like, and it was also like very easy to shoot people while they were doing it because they stand still for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Which weirdly makes it kind of balanced because like
it's so powerful if they can pull it off.
Yeah, if you can pull it off, it will rip through buildings. But if you can't, like, then you're fucked. Like you're a sitting duck and you're so loud. You are so loud and so obvious. I don't know. I still think it's personally the best thing about this game still is being able to play my account across multiple platforms with complete ease. Like I re-download it on my phone, so I can play it at lunch at work. Because Apex Legends Mobile is giving us grief. It is
what, you've lost a match.
Oh, there's more players, which is fine, but like also each update comes by and it makes the performance a little bit worse. Me and Ollie's phones aren't great. Like mine's quite old now. Like it's like 5 years old.
But you were playing it fine, and now you're not playing it fine.
Yeah, it's gotten not as good.
Damn.
But yeah, so I've put the Fortnite back on the phone, on the cellular phone, to see what it's, play it on with a controller. I don't know. Come back in 2 weeks to hear the next episode of the Fortnite to see
Fortnite
to see what crazy licensed events have happened in between now and then. There might not be anything yet because it might be the first 2 seasons of just season, and then there might be like a what comes. I think maybe the Lord of the Rings because the show is happening.
Yeah, that'll probably happen. Like Goku wasn't known to be happening when they announced the season. That was like a mid-season surprise.
Yeah, and that was because the Broly. I think there was a Broly thing happening. Maybe.
Oh, there was a movie that came out.
Right.
It's like I think it was called Dragon Ball Super Superhero.
Yeah.
I just remember there was 2 supers in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Jeremy, we have reached a crossroads.
Nah, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so too. We're at a pretty decent length for the show. We had a topic for the show that we thought we might do, but we've taken longer than we thought we would, which is just classic us.
We also spoke about Grand Theft Auto for like 40 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty sizable and pretty of the week. So I think we're going to wrap it up there, everybody. No Fortnite next week. It'll only have been a half a fortnight. What's that? A fort week. Watching you process that in real time was very delightful.
Didn't like that at all.
We'll come back in 2 weeks if you want to hear more about Fortnite. Next week, I have no idea what we're going to be talking about next week. I mean, I didn't know we'd be talking about NBA this week either, or Disco Elysium, or Call of Duty. It's been a very strange week, everybody.
Or even, I certainly didn't think we were going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah. Yep. The only thing that we knew was definitely happening was the Fortnite.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us for this week. Next week's topic will be what was going to be this week's topic, which is do double A games only have a space to release on Game Pass? Jeremy, I was listening to just a quick aside to a little laugh before we head to the outro here. I was listening to Kind of Funny, as I do during most weeks, and they were talking. Tim was talking to Blessing and Barrett and talking about how triple A something was. He was talking about the triple anus of something.
That's pretty good.
And he didn't catch it, but Blessing and Barrett did, and they didn't let it go. And then they were laughing, and I was laughing, and we were all laughing.
Triple
and
anus.
so we've got this double A
anus.
game. This double anus.
That's good.
Topic coming up next week. So everyone, I want to hear all of what you have to say about the double anus of games in the coming week. Have a think about the double anus in the next 7 days before we get to the next topic. Something else to bring up before we end the show. That's right. If you're following on Twitter, it's not a mistake. Episode 4 of The Pecking Order is live. It is live right now. You can go and listen to us rank the kissability of the crazy frog. That's right, the frog that sings on everyone's phone back in like 2004. We rank how kissable it is, and also why his penis was out. That's a very integral part of the conversation, and it comes first because it's actually quite alarming when you can see the implications of it. It's a really fun show in general. If you haven't listened to The Pecking Order, I recommend listening to the show. It's a great episode, and it marks a new release before we can. It's unblocking the dam, theoretically.
Well, it's now unblocking. Now I am the block.
Well, you or I, right? It's
me.
Either one of us.
It's me because I've still got the files on my laptop and I haven't uploaded them to Google Drive yet.
Oh, you are the block.
Yeah,
you are now the block in the dam.
Yeah. Yep.
So new episodes are coming. We recorded a bunch of them ages ago. So new episodes of The Pecking Order are coming. Catch up on old episodes. Get ready for some new ones. And listen to the Crazy Frog ranking episode. He makes it to a surprising place on the list. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's one of our shows. This is the other one, the MIniMapCast. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said before, we're going to be talking about AA games next week and whether they really only have a space to release safely on Game Pass now. And so talking about the nuance of that next week. Probably won't be talking about GTA 6 unless we are, but probably not. Yeah. You can follow all of our socials to make sure you don't miss when that episode goes live on MiniMap AU. That's at MiniMap AU on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find our socials on all of those platforms for this podcast and this site. You can follow us individually too. Jeremy, where can they follow you on Twitter?
At Obi-Wan-Jez.
You can follow me on Twitter at kjpalmer_24. You can also head to minimap.com.au for absolutely everything Minimap related. I don't think my eyes are good enough for me to have this at default size. Let me just, there we go. Control scroll. Now it's at. My eyes are getting old, Jeremy. I'm having to magnify normal size windows.
Your eyes are getting old.
For those of you that are live with us on Twitch, stick around. We're about to start the post show. For those of you listening on a podcast service, if you could give us those oh so tasty 5-star ratings, those pluses, those ticks, those thumb ups, those hearts, it does mean a lot to us. Those positive ratings help us out a lot. And consider joining us next week for the live show. It's a really good time. You can also support us on Patreon if you want to help us keep the mics and lights on. You can do that by heading on over to patreon.com/minimapau, and for $5 Australian, for $5 Australian dollars, rather, I need because it's written as $5 AUD, I always say $5 Australian, and that's kind of weird. I wanted to say $5 Australian dollars, but for $5 Australian dollars, you can ask us questions to answer on the podcast, or while helping us out greatly through Patreon. So if you decide to do that, thank you. And if you're listening to this at all, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to this whole episode, for getting to the end of it with us. We'll be back in a week's time to talk about more games. Until then, stay safe. Play some cool stuff you haven't played before, stuff you have. And we'll be back next week to talk about what we've been doing the same. We'll be back next week. Bye!